Hello again, folks. Welcome back to the Pink Floyd Completion Project, and today we're taking a look at something that's not necessarily an official live album, but I feel like I would be remiss if I were to skip over this. We are looking at Wembley Live 1974, not just what this record contains, which is the live performance of Dark Side from Wembley 1974, but also the other four songs that they played that night. This which added over an hour to the concert's runtime. Now, what songs did they play that added an hour's runtime? What four songs added an hour's runtime? Well, the band started out on this tour. Now, of course, by this time, Dark Side of the Moon had gone out. They are like the biggest band in the world, and then they introduced, that, like, it was at this point that they introduced that circular screen called Mr. Screen that became a staple of not only the band's career, but also David Gilmour and Roger Waters' solo careers as well. That big circular projection screen. Now, what did they start with? Shine On You Crazy Diamond. And this is an early version, but the song is basically all the way there. There's a couple of differences. It jumps right into Rick's synth intro. None of the like the fade up, the build up that takes like a minute. Yes, less, and there's less of a build up to the four magical notes afterwards. And when the drums kick in, the song becomes very similar to the studio intro. The solo is very similar to this, like the guitar solo is very similar to the studio. With minute. Yeah, my handwriting is really bad, apparently. Oh, and then there's like next to no lyrical differences, and that but when Roger starts singing, he sounds like Roger. Not as bad as old Roger. Old Roger. After the final cut, Roger starts sounding a bit both in the studio and off the stage, but. Back in the day, when he had multiple takes and some warm-ups, he sounded kind of fine in the studio. Live, though, he's still a little bit iffy, but he can still sing at this point. He's not lip-syncing as he tends to do today. There's no sax solo. The middle jam session is truncated. It's again. It's very similar to the studio, next to no missing lyrics. And, as a standalone version of the song, it's a great version, like, as a standalone. I wouldn't, like, if you were to just throw this on as your version of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, you go ahead and do that. That's your prerogative. It's a fantastic version of the song. Yeah. Raving and Drooling, in parentheses, Sheep. This is an early version of Sheep. It starts off like One of These Days, it's quite different from the studio version, but there's, lyrical differences. Basically, that first there's not like that last verse, so like the first verse you hear it twice. Or I guess like the last verse on Sheep is also the first verse here. Anyway, it's basically the same song apart from a couple of lyrical differences. It's the same song, although lyrically it's still definitely within the themes of Wish You Were Here, which they would have been working on at the time, would have been writing at the time, but this is still firmly in the Dark Side era, hence the shirt. Yeah. Let's see. You Gotta Be Crazy. Dogs. This is an early version of Dogs, and unlike Raving and Drooling, there's plenty of differences between the this version and then the version that eventually wound up on Animals. Like, now, if you've heard Animals, and if you're watching this video, you probably have. Like, if you've heard Animals, you'll know that the first instrument you hear on that song is an acoustic guitar. Here, that intro is an electric guitar, because I don't think they had acoustics on hand at the time, but it's pretty good. The vocal delivery is way different. The lyrics are way different. Dave really has to, spit them out. It's melodically the same as the original album, as the final studio version, but it's much more in line with the themes of Wish You Were Here. Rick does cool synth shit, same as the studio version outside of lyrics. Oh, shit. Oops. I read the wrong thing. Oh, yeah, that's what, it maintains Shine On's mournful energy. That's what I'm looking for. The guitar solos are the same, but they're less intense, because Dave didn't have his Big Muff pedal yet. But, if you listen to him, it's, the same notes, but a different level of intensity. If I had an editing software, I would throw in clips of You Gotta Be Crazy, and then contrast that with Dogs. Or maybe I would save that for the Animals review, I don't know. But it's, again, it's a very different energy. There's days where I prefer this version. There are days where I prefer this version of Dogs to the studio version. And they're both excellent fucking songs. And by the time they get to the end of You've Gotta Be Crazy, they're already basically an hour into the show. Yeah, this is a fucking great performance. And then Dark Side of the Moon, Speak to Me is slightly different. It's a little bit longer. You've got to give that live crowd some build up. Run sounds way cool, probably because there's some live instrumentation here. And at times, guitar solo doesn't hit quite the same. I'm just naming off minor differences. Great Gig is worse. It's worse. It is much worse on this live version. It's just worse because you don't have Claire Torrey there, who did the original album in one take. Dick Perry's on sax live on the stage. He did it, for the studio and for the stage. And Any Color, Nothing to Say About Money. Any Color You Like runs a little long for my taste. I know I said I wish it was, I almost wished it was longer in the Dark Side review, but in this case, because you don't have that studio sound, I don't really want to sit there and listen to it for 8 minutes. There's something magical about the studio sound of Dark Side, man. Something about it that made it perfect. But nothing to say about Brain Damage / Eclipse. The crowd fucking cheered at the end of that one. And then Echoes is fucking Echoes. They played Echoes at the end of the show. That's awesome. Right? And it gets an added sax solo. So, yeah. It's pretty good. This is, again, not necessarily an official live release, but you can listen, there's been, this entire concert has been released in an official capacity in one way or another, just because there's the Wish You Were Here immersion box set that has, I believe, Shine On and You've Gotta Be Crazy, Raving and Drooling's been released on their YouTube channel before. Like, I believe they released Echoes on the early years box set. But yeah, there's like, and of course now, you have the Dark Side performance from that show. I'm not really a big fan of this cover for the live one. Like, I don't know if this is like stage stuff notes. I don't think so. Or maybe like I don't know. It doesn't feel like it was made when they want you to think it was made. It doesn't feel like it was made in the 70s. It feels like it was made specifically for that release, which it very well could have been. I don't know. I haven't done my research on that. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I think you should listen to it. I really do. You can find it on YouTube. The whole thing's like a little over 2 hours, which, I know not everybody has that kind of time in their day, but I think it's worth it. It's the Floyd. I definitely think it's worth the 2 hours and 10 minutes of your day that it would take up. I think you should listen to it. If there was an official release of the entire thing, I would tell you to go buy it. Certainly buy this. Certainly buy this if you can. That is the Dark Side of the Moon Live 1974, and that full recording, this version, is on Pink Floyd's official YouTube channel for you to watch for free. But yeah, I will link the video that I used for this one in the description. I'm gonna thank you all very much for watching. If you want to see me talk, if you liked the video, leave a like on it. If you have something to contribute in the comments, leave a comment. If you want to continue along this journey with me, please subscribe. I appreciate it. Or don't. I don't really care. And if you want to see me talk about stuff that's not music, I have a podcast with two of my buddies. It's called Dorkies. We just put out an episode a couple days ago. I will link that in the description. And if you want to see what I'm listening to that day, or a 15-second segment at least, you can follow me on Instagram at Sean_Heaster1979. I post a song on my story every single day. So yeah, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, and join me next time where we will look at Wish You Were Here. But until next time, I will see you. Goodbye.